Public Investment Corporation sent papers for liquidation for Sekunjalo Independent Media on Tuesday. Takudzwa Hove, the spokesperson for the SIM, said the PIC's application was frivolous as it appeared to have intentionally omitted certain factual and legal considerations relevant to this matter. Now, to break this conversation down even further, I'm joined now by Tahir Maepa, Public Servants Association Deputy General Manager. Tahir, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
This story has generated a lot of comments coming specifically from government officials. We've heard ANC Secretary General Jesse Duwata weighing in, saying that it doesn't make sense. The APC's also come in. The Pan-Africanist Party of Azania has also had a lot to say about this. As a trade union, what are your sentiments?
He elects to go this route as far as the Sekunjalo Media. If you look at the mess that is currently happening in the PIC, we have raised issues as far as what happened, for instance, in Steinhoff. 30 billion between Steinhoff and pursuing those transactions. Is that this transaction was done around 2013. And in terms of the agreement, the first payment was due only in 2018, which was last year. And according to what we have also seen is that the amount of 1.2 billion doesn't exist. It's about 500 million, of which 300 million has been paid back to the PIC. Now, when somebody owes you and they default, you don't start by liquidating. You start by negotiating an instrument to agree on a payment plan. And that had already started last year, engaging with this rush now to liquidate Sekunjalo is reckless, and the only people who are going to lose here, it's us. Because remember, this is our money that they're playing around with. PIC is worth zilch, zero, without our pension monies. And they are going to use our money to try and liquidate our own money, and we are going to lose. And if they lose, and then Dr. Sevi sues them, who's going to pay the lawsuits? Our money again. So they are playing gymnastics. Leash hellfire on the PIC board.
Now, you're saying that, they're playing with fire here, and Sekunjalo says this is a coordinated attack, it's frivolous. What do we know about the composition of Sekunjalo as a business?
Well, from what we try to research how Sekunjalo works, and from what we have seen as far as this specific transaction, PIC bought shares from this Irish group when the Oppenheimers wanted to take those newspapers outside of South Africa. So they literally invested in acquiring, which was a good thing because we wanted more of such independent media platforms within South Africa. Now, when they invested in this, they knew that what they were getting themselves into. The fact of the matter was this transaction managed properly. And if it was, how come only now they are jumping around because of this PIC commission and all that? We believe that there's a smoking gun. And if this board is also going to be used by political handlers or business handlers, we'll be sitting in the same situation. So they need to be very, very, very careful. They need to apply their independent mind and their independent thought when they deal with these kinds of issues. When we approach them to join us in suing Steinhoff, they didn't come to the party. Why are they so afraid to deal with such a huge loss, and yet they are looking at a 500 and it's not even 500 million, it's about 300 million. That in itself, it's questionable. What are the real motives?
And what do we know about the liquidation application process at this point in time?
Well, from what we know is that they've applied for liquidation, and apparently Sekunjalo Group is going to contest that because their selling is frivolous, and we are going to apply a wait-and-see kind of a situation. But like I'm saying, whether they win or they lose, we are going to lose, irrespective. Because when you liquidate, basically you lose almost the money that you have invested. if they lose in this application, Sekunjalo will sue them, will have to foot the bill. And we are saying we are not going to foot a cent. This board will pay for this decision.
And where to from here?
Well, from here, we'll have to wait and see. But our advice to the PIC is that there's better ways in dealing with this, especially right now in the PIC where we're trying to rebuild that organization, because PIC is in a mess. They must go into discussions with Sekunjalo. It's not about personality clashes. It's about playing with our future, our money that we have worked very hard for. Majority of the public servants were not part of this deal. Why should they suffer because of decisions that were taken by bureaucrats who had no best interest of the public servants at heart?
Well, this is all happening in the foreground. We know that in the background, as you mentioned, that PIC is a mess. There's been a lot of controversial aspects coming out of it. What are your sore points in that regard, in terms of the challenges that the PIC is facing?
Well, we raised those challenges. We're, in fact, the only unions in 2017 that really rang the bells in terms of what has happened into the PIC. And we also fought to change legislation. The issue there was political interference, no doubt about that. You must also understand that the only kitty that this government has nowadays is only the PIC. They have no money, they are broke. So everybody is looking at the PIC as a cash pig to try and get themselves going. So what we are saying is that we welcome the current board, and we hope that this board is not going to fall into the same trap of the previous boards, because we believe that this board has got competent people, it's got people who understand how investment should look like, and all that they need to do is what is in the interest of the fund itself. And currently, with these kinds of decisions, we're starting to doubt where this whole thing is going. And we hope we are wrong, because if we are not, then we'll be sitting in the same situation as we have said with the previous boards.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Tahir. That was Tahir Maepa, Public Servants Association Deputy General Manager, saying that money will be used, but it shouldn't be the public servants that foot the bill.